with a perfect example of how speculating on comic books can go terribly, terribly wrong.
Spec is all about being ahead of the curve, and I've never seen more lead time on this book, whether it's going to be a big payoff or a spectacular failure.
And it's $3. Big congratulations, Christina Perez. You won this.
Falling in Love on the Path to Hell Ashcan, signed by Jerry Duggan, and a 9.6.
Join the SMS group, comictom.com, to join all of our giveaways henceforth. This week's giveaway is a Amazing Fantasy 1000 signed by J. Scott Campbell. Let's chat about the most trending comic books in the world.
Number 10 on the list, Headless Horseman Halloween Annual, number 1, selling for $25 average sales and multiple recent sales for $80. Why would this book from 2023 make it on the list? Oh yeah, no surprise at all. Mark Spears did the cover.
Horror is always relevant, but when you combine it to the hype that Mark Spears has experienced since Halloween of this year, it makes sense to me that we're seeing an increase of copies sold of 233% on a book that people were largely not purchasing. I know this to be true because there's only one copy on the census, and this book came out a year ago. Keep in mind, there's also a Mike Mignola cover for this very issue, but it's not the issue itself that's spiking this cover. It's the actual cover artist itself. And similar to Dave Stevens earlier this year, I mean, Mark Spears has been around for a long time. Enough people are now collectively choosing to hunt for his books that now there's a collector's market for it. And people are building stuff for their PC, and now they're going back through his catalog and hunting for more books. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We make this video every 7 days for the comic community, while we move on to number 9 on the list with Deadly Tales of Gunslinger Spawn, issue number 1, the 1 in 50 Todd McFarlane cover that's hitting $60 average sales, high sales for a raw copy of $80, but there is a $200 pre-sale 9.8.
This character is such a fan favorite, it blows my mind that people seem to have missed this book. Gunslinger Spawn first appeared in Spawn number 174 and hasn't showed up that many times since then. So this book, being his origin story, should have been something that I think every Spawn fan was buying. We had almost nobody buy this book at the shop, and that's why I think this 1 in 50 variant is just going to be super scarce. If you love Todd McFarlane's art, you can get the open-to-order color and trade dress version, but the super cool one is obviously the pencil sketch.
Written by Jimmy Palmiotti, taking you back to his origins in the Old West. We have violence, we have mayhems, we have guns, all happening before he gets pulled into the future.
Number 8 on the list, we have a double key, Amazing Spider-Man number 149. $180 average sales and a CGC 9.8 for $1,950. Now, this double key features the first appearance of Peter Parker's clone, Ben Reilly, and the origin and death of Jackal. It's a 130% increase in copies sold this week for not one, but 2 reasons.
Well, you have Dr. Miles Warren, who later becomes a Jackal, getting name dropped in the Kraven movie, but that can't be the reason why this book is spiking 120, 130%. You know, yeah, maybe people are hoping that there may be a Jackal movie. Maybe that's what they would have done had any of these movies performed as well as they had hoped. But the second reason to really spec on this is because we have a Spider-Man noir led by Nicolas Cage, who is likely going to be portraying Ben Reilly in 1920s America.
Ben Reilly is one of those characters in the Spider-Man universe that keeps coming back. In the current run, he's Chasm, and while we have a new writer coming up, we're not quite certain what's going to happen with this character, but we do know that we're going to be seeing more from Ben Reilly. This is a book that is always relevant, but especially this week.
Let's not forget, in the Ultimate Universe, Ultimate Spider-Man specifically, J. Jonah Jameson teams up with Uncle Ben. Ben Parker doesn't get murdered in this universe, and they write a hit piece on Wilson Fisk and use a pseudonym to protect themselves, and the name they chose? Ben Reilly. If you want to support the show, do it by joining the Mystery Mail Call. 1 per box in January. We're kicking off the year strong with a magic number 1, John Boy Myers exclusive, going in 1 per box. ComicTom.com to join the community, and we'll send you some comic books. Which brings us to number 7 on the list. This is a perfect example about how comic speculation can go terribly, terribly wrong. Spectacular Spider-Man, issue number 116, the first appearance of the Foreigner, who appeared in Kraven, fought Kraven, and now is selling for cheaper than it ever has in the last 3 years.
The movie has caused a 200% increase in copies sold, and while we are reporting $40 average sales for Raws, a $56 9.8 just this last week, crazy low. I mean, we were looking at $405 back in 2022. This book has fallen from big heights.
Let's break this down again if they missed these numbers. $400 at its peak when people were hyped about the news that Kraven was going to be on the screen, and this was one of the characters that was likely going to be seen. And then it was confirmed with casting. And all the while the Sonyverse tanked, this book went under to performing its literal worst all year during the debut of the movie. That $56 9.8 was the lowest sale of 2024.
Number 6 on the list, ThunderCats Ho! ThunderCats Apex number 1. This is great because we've actually talked about this book on the list in the last few weeks. Well, this is the A cover, seeing $5 average sales. That is, the identity of Apex has been revealed. It's a 320% increase in copies sold this week. And because last week we were talking about this amazing Mark Spears cover on the FOC and the 1 in 10 and the 1 in 15, there are multiple Mark Spears variants, and those are all selling for a lot of money right now. All over the place, $30, $40, $50, $200 for like the foil virgin cover. And I think that's one of the reasons why, since this is a key storybook that is giving you a lot of great backstory on the ThunderCats, this book is on the list. It's a great reader. Get it at a shop. Pay cover price.
We find out that Apex is the future version of Lion-O in this issue, and this book has been out for weeks. And I love that we're coming back to this book because of a variant cover showing you the impact that a good variant can have on an ongoing comic run. If you're like others who are now hunting for the ThunderCats covers of this issue, there's a Jay Lee cover to consider, a Lucio Padillo variant, and a Megan Hetrick variant as well.
Tom, when I showed up at the warehouse this week, I saw you guys unloading boxes, and then about an hour and a half later, I stopped by to check out this new collection you just got. I have never seen you use Key Collector more.
You're not wrong, Russ. Use code TOM101 to support the show, but get access to a free 2-week subscription of Key Collector comics. I just scanned this book behind me, first appearance of Thor, Journey into Mystery 83. There is a update on the app. You click a button, you scan it, and now it will tell you what the book that you just scanned is, with the key significance, if there is one, and suggested pricing. I am busting through this collection faster than I have ever gone through one. Download Key Collector. Let's move on to number 5 on the list, because Exile's number 3, I think people have underestimated since the debut of Peggy Carter as Captain America in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
This has been a great spec book for a long time, and it's back on the radar now, seeing $65 average sales and $130 for a CGC 9.8. It's the first appearance of Peggy Carter as Captain America, the first full appearance. Cover art is inspired by X-Men number 268. It's a 367% increase in copies sold this week because we now have rumors that Haley Atwell is going to be showing up in the MCU, and people are hoping that she's going to be Captain Carter again.
This book spiked up to near $700 for a 9.8. She showed up on the screen. We all know what happened in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but similar to like the Fantastic Four, it doesn't really matter what happened to those characters because that was a particular variant of said character. They could bring her back in the future from another timeline. They're literally doing that with Reed Richards.
Spec is all about being ahead of the curve, and I've never seen more lead time on this book, whether it's going to be a big payoff or a spectacular failure.
ASM 592. This book is $3. You can get it in dollar bins. I don't think you should spec on this book unless you can find it in dollar or quarter bins, though.
Someone paid $73 for a CGC 9.8, and we are seeing a 467% increase in copies sold. It's the first appearance of the Vulture, James Natal, but we're actually talking about this book because it is this 3-story arc called 24/7, where J. Jonah Jameson puts together a task force to find out who that dastardly Spider-Man is. And you know what? It takes place in a world where no one knows Spider-Man's real identity, kind of like at the end of the movie where Spider-Man gets wiped from everyone's memories, and this could be a plot, this could be nothing. I don't know, tread lightly on this book.
That's right. Like, we're hearing rumors about Spider-Man 4 now that the Sonyverse is officially focusing in on just what's been working. The animated stuff and Spider-Man specifically. Spider-Man 4 doesn't come out until July 2025. So you're right.
2026, Tom.
Oh my gosh, yeah, 2026. So you have a lot of time. But here's the thing. We have on this very list from the same, like, this is still Sony. The Foreigner actually went to the big screen. And that is a key book. And that's selling at 9.8 less than this comic is. So just don't go crazy is what I'm saying.
Number 3 on the list, Absolute Batman. Number 1, the Noir Edition. And it has been well over a month since we have talked about anything in the Absolute universe. People are still reading them. We're on about issue number 3 for the main 3 titles. And because you were on third prints of Batman #1 and second prints of Wonder Woman and Superman #1, people are picking up these other copies. Well, this in and of itself is a very cool black and white retelling of the story. $5 average sales. There's an $80 pre-sale for a CGC 9.8, although I think once CGC's delays have slowed down, that book's probably going to come down a little bit. But if you really do like this whole noir feel, you really like this, old-timey feel, the story lends itself really well in black and white. It's great to be able to see the line work of the artist and just kind of have a raw copy of the story without any shading or colors.
Absolute Batman 3 released this past Wednesday. 2 weeks ago, we got Absolute Superman 2, which was superb. Absolute Wonder Woman comes out next week. And then March of 2025, we get Absolute Green Lantern, Flash, and Martian Manhunter.
Hey, did you see Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner? Oh, he looks like an idiot.
Dude, it looks perfect, dude. He looks perfect.
Yeah,
I'm so excited about this trailer.
About that.
I bet next week we're going to have a bunch of DC stuff on the list. And I'm curious from the community, comment down below, because these sales took place prior to the trailer for Superman this week. So I want to know if you bought any DC keys courtesy of watching that movie and getting excited. Let me know in the comment section, because next week I think it's going to be filled with Superman keys specifically.
Tom, I just hate this spec. I hate this spec.
Real talk, before we record the video every week, we jump on the phone prior to him getting here because we have a little bit of time to prep for the show, to review some books. And when we got to number 2 on the list, West Coast Avengers #7 from 2019, first appearance of Jeff the Landshark. And we're over here reviewing the numbers, $125 average sales. Mind you, this was $35 averages just a week ago. Recent 9.8, a all-time high of $400. Russ pretty much the bet. You were not happy about this. You do not like this spec.
I don't like this spec. The character is great. I like Jeff the Landshark. Marvel Rivals, absolutely going to be making a lot of money, and a lot of people are liking this game. Sure, I'm totally in on it. But really, this book came out, the print run wasn't actually that low, and the last 5 sales I saw on eBay, coming here today, $200 for raw copies of this book. People are overpaying. If you're paying that much for this book, this is not long-term spec. I can't say the book's going to go down, because quite honestly, it could, again, just be like a Baby Groot type thing. It could just be like a Grogu type thing. So you're going to get this like price memory where you have the people who just like it.
Have you ever had like a video game character that became so popular that it now has like preserved the key value of a collectible beyond the initial hype? Like, I can't think of any.
Do you remember when Tsum Tsum was a big thing and that was actually really valuable and now it's not?
Yeah, Arkham Batman is like $5, $10 for the first appearance in comics. Same with Peter Parker from the PS4 games, etc. So I agree with you. You guys got to go a little easier on this, because this is probably the worst time to purchase this book. I could be wrong. Like, maybe Jeff the Landshark is going to get so much hype that Marvel will just start using him and we'll see him fast track to the big screen. There is always that Null type of potential. Like, Null wasn't going to be in Venom Last Dance until way after production. They slipped him in there, and then the movie was great. Will they do that with Jeff? Will they fast track him to the screen? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Did you buy this book? Are we wrong? And let's move on to the #1 most trending book in the world.
Make sure you like and subscribe. We have been doing this video every single week for the last 6.5 years. And right now, #1 on the list, more Captain America spec. Captain America #180. This is the first time we see Steve Rogers as Nomad.
Captain America, Steve Rogers, gets fed up with the current political system. So he dons a different persona. $15 average sales, $900 for a recent CGC 9.8. After rumors started circulating that seemingly has confirmed a return of Chris Evans to the silver screen, but not until Avengers Doomsday. So we got a little bit of time. I find it curious that it's like a couple months until we get Captain America, Brave New World. Sam Wilson is Captain America. And we are talking about Peggy Cap. And we're talking about nomad right now. And last week we were chatting about an evil Captain America. Not a whole lot of faith from the comic collecting community is what I'm saying in this movie coming out in February.
It's a massive increase on these rumors this week, a 767% increase. And this movie is only a few months away, and I'm excited to see Sam Wilson as Captain America, but it just blows my mind that we aren't seeing, I don't know, Captain America number 25, which is the first time Sam Wilson becomes Captain America. We're not seeing anything from the actual Sam Wilson Captain America run, like number 3, where you have the new Falcon. We already know Joaquin Torres is going to be the new Falcon in this movie. These are just, I mean, even talking about Hulk 1, Hulk 2, where we end up seeing, Thaddeus Ross, Red Hulk, which we have literally seen him in the trailer. It just kind of blows my mind that people have kind of glossed over all of those books that we're pretty sure are going to be in the movie, and they're picking out, hey, maybe potentially Chris Evans is going to be another guy.
Let me know what you think in the comment section below about this. Is it because of how much info we've gotten about the production and delays and refilming and the poor reception to like the test screenings that were taking place? Because all that makes me feel like is that we should just not listen to that kind of stuff until the movie comes out. There's way too many people that watch Kraven that I personally know that enjoyed the film.
This is exactly what I'm hearing as well. Everyone I know who saw Kraven was a big fan of it. It's a popcorn
Do you see the
movie.
critic scores are like super low compared to the audience score? Like this movie didn't have a chance, but it's like it was almost sabotage.
The spread is crazy because the critic scores on Rotten Tomatoes are sub 20, and the people who watched the movie, it's in the 50s and the 60s. Like really, you have fans that are enjoying these movies. So don't let any type of Hollywood reporter or any type of critic deter you from going to the movie theater and seeing a movie. Go in, sit down, buy some popcorn, support your local movie theater. These movies are awesome, and we need them to keep getting made.
Let's not forget that these are superhero movies. And of course, as always,
Geek responsibly.
enough said.